my phone's right here and I'm already doing the Instagram live, so that's awesome. Um, cool. So let's go ahead and get started then. So I don't know what to call what your name is. Do you go by Devaya or Barry or Bari or I'm
Both, all
both.
three.
Okay.
Dairy, Bari, Devaya. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What is your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
Devaya,
Okay.
probably because it's like softer aspect of who I am now. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm so glad you're here today with us. We're going to spend just under an hour. In the middle of the day, we get that like midday slump. And so this is meant to um, give us a recharge. So we'll start with some breath work, and you've been kind enough to offer to lead that, especially because
Sure.
my voice is kind of going out. I'm still recovering from COVID. And then we'll transition and I'll share my screen and we can watch our interview where we talk about how you have this unique approach of integrating color and sound with yoga and movement. And then at the end, we'll open it up to Q&A. So if anybody has questions um, on the Instagram Live or in the Zoom, just drop them in the chat and we'll make sure we get to those. Okay, cool. And we met, Devaya and we met through a yoga group, a yoga business group, Digital Yoga Academy, and it's been such a blessing. And Debbie, who's also on, we've all met through there, and we meet weekly and talk about what we're doing in our yoga businesses, and it's been really a beautiful community. So without further ado, I'll let you lead in the breath work.
Hi, I'm Barry or Devaya or Barry Devaya. And as Sierra mentioned, I have a registered mark yoga. We work with color and sound. And as we integrate that with movement, creating a yoga, yeah, integrating breath with movement, it's really powerful. So I'm gonna invite everybody to experience a little bit at this lunchtime drop of energy. So let's see if we can find a comfortable seated position. You can be sitting at your desk, you can be in a chair, you can be on the earth. And to tell you the truth, just for a second, I'm going to come down here. One of the best ways to line our spine is to lie down. Now our spine's aligned, but we have to have our feet on the earth and our feet on the earth and our knees to the sky. So I have no pride. I because we're always so hard on ourselves. So I think lying down is another approach. But so we're gonna inhale and just place our hands right below our navel and see if we can, as we inhale, we can fill our navel like a balloon. We can even imagine orange color like a navel orange. And exhaling, pulling the belly into the spine and the breath into the earth red. Inhaling red in the nostrils, exploding, filling the belly like a balloon. And exhaling, pulling the belly into the spine and the breath into the earth. Let's inhale and press the heels into the earth, whether you're sitting in a chair or sitting down, and lift the knees a little bit. Activate the legs, get into our body a little bit, and then exhale and release the legs. And inhaling, a hand by the navel and another by the heart. And exhale all the breath out of the body and the head between the shoulders. And let's inhale, the eyes are shut and gazing between the eyebrows. And imagining bringing a red color in from the earth, filling the belly until it can't expand anymore, the ribs and the chest with breath. And finding our own rhythm. Let's hold it in. 3, 2, 1. And exhale, sitting back. Exhaling, 4, 3, 2, one. Can we hold the breath out a second? And two more times, finding our own rhythm. Two of my more breaths. We're going to inhale belly, ribs, and chest. Inhaling red. Hold the breath on, lengthen to the sky. Three, two, one. Head between the shoulders. Four, three, two, one. One more time, inhaling. Lengthen, hold it in. Inhale a little bit more. There's probably room in that upper lung. Four, three, two, one. And exhaling. Four, three, two, one. Inhaling. And let's bring the shoulders up around the ears. Inhaling red. Connect with the earth and bring the chin to the chest. Just activate. Make fists. Stick out the tongue. And exhale. Open the eyes. Exhaling, releasing. Ah. Two more times. Inhale. Let's hide like a turtle. Squeeze in. Shut the eyes. Stick out the tongue. Make a fist. Exhale. Bring that tongue back in. Exhaling. Ah. One more time. Inhaling red. Hiding, hiding, hiding like a turtle. And exhaling. Ah. And inhaling if we're seated, maybe lengthen out the legs, even in the chair. Bounce our legs a second. And actually, if you're on the earth, let's just do it a little bit because we have like 5 minutes, let's say, of energizing ourselves for a moment before we have to make lunch, pick up the kids, put them down for a nap. So let's inhale and sit back and extend our hands and flex the legs. We're going to what's called pull prana. We're pulling the life force or energy. We're going to dig in with the heel and exhale, hop, 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 hop. Come forward and back. Hop, 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 hop. And from the sky, hop, 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 and back, hop, 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 hop. And inhale, bring our feet together. Just one more little exercise. And we're going to exhale, press the heels into the earth, lift the pelvis and the heart, gaze forward. And we're going to exhale and dig in, exhaling, hop, 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 hop. Like opposite stretches, hop and back, hop, and it activates hop, the first chakra, or feeling safe. So let's inhale, just 2 breaths, breathing red, press the heels into the earth and the knees to the nose. And then exhale, release the legs, exhaling orange, and exhale, come forward, exhaling, ooh. Just 2 more times. Inhale, red, press down and lift up. 2, 3, exhale. Come forward, all the way forward, all the way forward. Exhaling, ooh, with that force of gravity. And one more time. Inhale, red, press, and lift. And exhale, come forward. Exhaling, ooh. And inhaling, red, chin to the chest, lift the pelvis. And then exhaling, vertebrae upon vertebrae into seated. Coming into that comfortable seated position again. And where is the breath now? Let's find that 3 count or 4 count. So inhaling, filling the belly, the ribs, and the chest with breath. And at the top of the breath, bring the shoulders up, the chin down. 3, 2, 1. And exhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. And before we do just a little bit of what's a sun meditation of just breathing in the left nostril, activating the right hemisphere, or the creative, intuitive side, I thought we could just do a little bit of sounding up the body because the universe was created by sound. The color makes the breath or the life force, the ki, the chi more physical. And if it weren't for the force of gravity, we wouldn't have matter. So bringing in the sound element, especially for frazzled moms or busy moms and wives, lovers, a female, being the multitasking woman that we are, for me, one of the best ways that I've empowered myself is to make noise, is to give myself a voice. And if I'm chanting, these are called seed sounds. There's seven of them for the seven chakras or the seven centers of the body. And they correspond to organs, nerve plexus, and organ centers. And so, and besides, on energetically, do I feel safe? Do I feel prosperous? Am I joyful? Am I secure? Am I heartbroken? Is my heart open? Can I express myself? Do I trust my intuition? Do I feel cut off or one with all? It works on a multifaceted level, just like we as women, multitasketed and multifaceted. So I just want to see, let's experience this. So we can rest our hands up and then we'll breathe, because as we activate sound, we're really moving the cells of our body. And we seem really physical, but it's an illusion. All we are is water and electricity. And this is a great way to move everything. And it's changed my life. I've went from suicidal thoughts to suicide free for at least 4 years now. So let's inhale, lift the pelvis. We can gaze at the tip of the nose. And I just have you repeat after me. We're going to begin by imagining a color red, and we're going to chant Lum various times in the same breath. And we can actually hold a mudra. This is for the earth, the two lower fingers with the thumb. And the lighter we touch the fingertips, the more activity we create in our brain. So inhaling, we can gaze at the tip of the nose, which activates the pineal gland, melatonin for a good night's sleep. And together. Lum, lum. Imagining orange, and we're going to chant Vam. Vam, vam. Inhaling and holding the two middle fingers with the thumb, the heart of the hand receiving, and the golden sun. And I'm going to chant Rum. Rum, 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 rum. Inhaling classic mudra or non-mudra, the thumb and the index finger. And imagining emerald green and chanting yum. This is the air element. Yum, 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 yum. Inhaling, crossing the thumb across the palm of the hand for sky blue, and hum. Hum, 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 hum. Inhale, turn the hand over and place the thumb on that first index finger. And imagining the midnight blue sky or indigo, and we're going to chant Om. So, Om. And inhaling purple, opening the hands, the heart of the hands to receive. And it's like a triangle here. with the heart of the hand, the heart, and we're like a tripod. So we're grounded into the earth with the antenna of the head. And let's just chant Om. And truly, this does raise the vibration. We are touching people we don't even know. So let's focus on the people we do know and love as well. Oh. Inhaling red belly, ribs, and chest, and hold that breath in. 3, 2, 1. Can I exhale it a little bit more? 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold it out for a second. And then we're going to inhale with the left hand gently touching the thumb and the ring finger. Inhaling in both nostrils. And with the index finger, the right hand gently shutting off the right nostril. Shut the eyes, gaze between the eyebrows. And in our mother tongue, we're going to inhale. Happy am I, healthy am I, whole am I. And exhaling with the emphasis on I am happy. I am healthy. I am whole. And we're just going to do it for a minute. And letting this be the last full round, inhaling. And inhaling, opening up those hearts again. Lift the pelvis, head between the shoulders, and inhaling red. Belly, ribs, and chest with breath. Hold the breath in. 3, 2, 1. And see if we can exhale just one count more. 4, 3, 2, 1. And taking a moment to scan the body, observing differences or similarities in physical sensation. Now, when we first began, the quality of the breath. How's my breath now? And the mind talk. Can I be curious about what goes across the mind screen? And if you have the time, I invite you to write down anything you've experienced. It's really powerful. And thanks a lot, Ciara. Thanks for
No,
letting me share.
that was
I
beautiful.
love what I offer.
Thank you so much. That that was lovely, and I definitely felt a shift in my energy. And I liked the turtle thing was my favorite exercise. That actually like really helped move the energy around. So thank you. I'm gonna share my screen and share sound. So just give me a second to get that sorted. Can you see the video?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, and can you
Oh,
hear
I'm
it?
so
Can you
excited to have you.
could you hear it as well?
Oh,
Okay.
that's our old one. Look at my youngie's
Yeah,
in my
this is our
shirt.
interview. We're gonna play our interview and it's been edited. So I'm gonna play it
Oh,
for
wow.
I'm gonna play it for about
Oh, one of
30.
your kids.
Yeah, so no, this is when I interviewed you. So you'll see.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna play it for the 30 minutes, and I'm also streaming it on my Instagram Live, so you can stay on um, or hop off and then come back on in 30 minutes, and then we'll do a Q&A and wrap up. Okay?
Whatever works well for you guys.
Okay,
I'm
either's good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this started so you
afraid to
can.
pop off.
Yeah, okay, go ahead and stay on. Just put yourself on mute so
Yeah.
that everyone can hear this. Okay, awesome. Here we
Oh, I'm
go.
so excited to have you here, Devaya, and talk about all of these amazing things you do. I think it would be great if you could talk about how
Oh, oops.
um,
Oh no.
you came to yoga, right? Or how yoga came to you. And
How yoga and I met
yeah.
in 1988
Mm-hmm.
in Costa
Hmm.
Rica. I was doing sociocultural research on bilingualism
Mm.
in the city, and we were invited every weekend. We would travel, and we one of these weekends we went out to the Nicoya Peninsula in Montezuma, and I was invited to meditate, and that absolutely scared me. Said, no, don't be
Mm.
afraid. Just watch your breath. I was like, no, what meditation was. Was I able to meditate? Did I have the capacity to meditate?
Mm.
He said, just follow your breath. And after two breaths, I saw myself with my fingers in the air and all these huts all around,
Mm.
houses, and I was doing healing work. I did healing work, and so I told them this man this because this had nothing to do with my background. I'm from Washington D.C., and in fact, I even worked for the Foreign Relations Committee. Now I was just what is it? I can't remember what it's called. You do errands for them. I didn't do anything much,
Oh,
but
a
that was
gopher.
my yeah, that was
Yeah.
my my
Yeah.
background. My dad was a lawyer lobbyist, and we were
Yeah.
hung out.
So
We
very
were together
mainstream.
first met, and so that was the last thing I expected was a healing experience. I was in
Like a
Costa Rica.
vision.
My friends told me I had to go there, and so I was like, all right. And my friend said you should teach yoga, and I was like, whatever that is.
And you
Actually, I was
never
studying
done it? Wait, so you've never done yoga and
never,
somebody told
never done
you you should
breathing
teach
or
it.
yoga. I was
That's wild.
there because I'm from an international arena. Now I went to a
Hmm.
public high school, but almost all the kids were ambassador kids. But by 88, I found a university to support me to get graduate credits because I was getting my
Hmm.
master's in Hispanic linguistics. I have my master's in Hispanic linguistics from UMass. And so I had this healing vision, and the tour guy said, you should teach yoga because every morning I would wake up and stretch out. I thought that I would be internationally renowned for soccer. And really, I thought that was my
That's
passion. And so
beautiful.
at age 16, I started to study diet, how to get the most energy out of food. And it was like always kind of my background, and I would stretch every day. So when he
And this
met
was all to
me,
help your soccer practice, right? So that
yes,
you'd be better at
and then
soccer, so you'd
exactly
eat better,
get more
stretch better.
energy.
Yeah, okay. That
I
makes
was
sense.
always kind of depressed, and I'd have to say a lot of it had to do with food allergies. Now that I look
Mm.
back on it,
Yeah.
I was always sick,
Yeah.
and I didn't understand the connection of food and body and mind, which is
Hmm.
it's everything. I mean, that's what flows through our blood. But anyways, he said I should teach yoga, and when I went back to UMass, I signed up for a basket weaving class and I took a yoga class.
Wait, they actually have
Well,
basket weaving? Because that's like a big
yeah,
joke, right?
there was yoga everywhere, first of all. I had no idea what yoga was. Next time I opened my blinders, oh my God, look at all this yoga. They took a
Mm,
yoga class super close to my house. I found it kind of weird. I
yeah.
came in, I was very shy and insecure, a lot of issues. And then come in, these guys are like wearing white turbans and white stuff. And I was
So
like,
this is
what
like
is
the
this?
OG yoga,
Yeah,
like, oh,
Bhajan, the Bhaji
okay.
yoga. Yeah, it was all
Yeah.
kind of weird. And then I was in, everything came together after that. All of a sudden, my grad school classes weren't so hard. I wasn't freaking out anymore. I started to get straight A's. And one of my professors invited me to interview at Skidmore College in upstate New York in Saratoga Springs, New York. And
Hmm.
so, because I didn't have to write my master's thesis, I didn't have to be there. And so I went and interviewed and actually got the job. They loved me. They just had me doing everything. I was hired first semester. And then after I got my master's, they made me director of the language lab and many
Hmm.
other things. I was instructor of language. I organized the language banks and everything else. And with all that, after having the vision of doing healing work or whatever it was that I had in Costa Rica, I wanted to get back there. That was my main thing.
Yeah.
I always kind of felt when I left the country, I wanted to live there. And then when I went back again, I didn't like it. But I went to Jamaica first. You'd see if I liked that, and I didn't like it. And then when I went back to in 1990, I went back to Costa Rica, and
You
it was
kind of took
downtrodden
yoga with you. Like you had this
everywhere.
initial experience through meditation where you had a vision, and then you, as you said, you then saw opportunities that probably had been in front of you before, but the door hadn't been opened to take different yoga classes, and you kind of explored yoga in these different places you moved to, but you always knew you had kind of felt the pull of Costa Rica, right? Is that
Well,
right?
every time I traveled, like I always knew I wasn't going to live in the United States.
Mm,
I mean, every time I traveled and went back to that place, it was like a no. But the yoga was the first time was in 1988, and then I found the yoga that called my attention in 1990, and when I lived in
mm,
Saratoga Springs, New York, with Judy Joy Weil with Kripalu Yoga.
uh,
So I became a
okay.
certified Kripalu teacher in 1991 in June when the center was still an ashram. They had a
Mm,
Yogi Amrit Desai was a spiritual director and blah blah. And that's been my basis. And that's what I took back to Costa Rica. And that's when
mm,
I started to realize that I got had a lot going on that I didn't even know I had. I mean,
yeah.
we're never really aware of what's going. We're not taught to listen to ourselves.
So let's fast forward um, a little bit, and I'd love to hear about
The color and sound.
the color and sound. So you have this really unique approach. You trademarked your own yoga method, right?
Correct.
Devaya yoga, the yoga of color and sound. And so I'm really interested in this idea. So I'd love to talk about how this came to be for you and then eventually evolved into your own like trademark method.
How did it happen for me? Because I was
Yeah.
living out in the jungle in the middle of nowhere, and I realized there wasn't really anything. I didn't have much mental health,
Hmm.
basically, like
Yeah.
almost zero. I was suicidal, and I know that yoga made me feel well, and I wasn't even aware that I was that. And
Yeah.
and so I started to study different parts of yoga, mainly from on Odeya Judith from her book Wheels of Life,
Mm.
and just started to bring in color. I think the color makes like we every in the end it's like all the theory, but because we're electricity, we see more solid. because in the end, we're just a bunch of cells bouncing everywhere, but
We're
it's
just
the
like
same
mostly
cell.
empty space.
There you go, for the scientist herself. And
Yeah.
so a color makes it denser. It makes it
Interesting.
more concrete.
Hmm.
And sound, well, the world was created by sound. And especially living out here, when I first moved out here, there was like a bus twice a day. There wasn't a ferry for cars. Extremely isolated. I was like probably one of 10 foreigners living out here as well. And women have no voice. It's a
Mm.
Latin world, and women have no voice. The men
Mm.
always are in the field screaming at each other, and the women are very quiet in the house. And I didn't realize how much, like, I didn't even activate my voice. And I started to bring in mainly vowel sounds, because vowel sounds
Hmm.
end up
So kind of like
ending.
I was saying, like ooh ah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we always say when we have a stomach ache. But
Yeah.
maybe maybe not. But if we think about it, we're already doing it, and it's kind
Hmm.
of like a pale yellow, maybe, or it depends how the stomach feels. And like we use I use mainly at this point. We're focusing on the first three chakras, and we use a lot of vowel sounds. The first chakra is O, so like when everybody's bending forward, usually they're like but we can go oh, or
Okay.
around the hip, that's
Yeah.
ooh, and you're releasing old stagnant energies,
Mm.
and we fill ourselves back up with an affirmation or a bija mantra. No, lum with lum vum rum yum hum mo mo. So we do a lot. And somebody, my teacher trainer that I just did, she said, "Well, why are we one, two, and three? What's all this red?" Well, it's not anger red, but it's earth red, and we have to. I feel that it's so important to connect with the earth. I mean, instead of being in our head and we're having an earth experience and it's nothing natural about it in the end because we're light beings having an earth experience. And so, why are we always in such a rush to open up all these other chakras? If I'm not safe, all this is going to make me psychotic. And I actually
Mm.
think that's part of what happened in my journey for a while. I mean, I was just so gung ho with all the alternate nostril breathing in 25 minutes and bouncing the hemispheres of my brain, and maybe I'll be normal, whatever that means. And it was just
Yeah.
mainly self acceptance. And so
Yeah.
I think I overstepped the
You were
ladder,
taking that
and
East Coast mentality to yoga.
yeah. And so I like wake myself out. Basically,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really experiencing so like anxiety. I didn't even know what all that stuff was.
So with the chakras, so let's go back to imagine high school Devaya living in DC. And, you're at this international school. You're like living a very kind of mainstream American life, right? How would you explain the chakra system to her, or just like to these working mamas listening, and what is the relevance for their
Relevance.
life? Well, like, what
The
is it first? Let's start with what is it.
chakra system. Okay, in the yoga philosophy, we have five bodies. We have
Mm.
our physical body that we can touch. And
Yeah.
then we have an emotional body, and we feel that. Like we go into a room, or
Yeah.
we watch our child come out of school, and we're like, "Oh my God, what's up with you?" That's the emotional body. It's not
Right.
necessarily the physical body. I mean, they might be crying, but they might not either. We just feel it. So like,
Mm.
trying to tune into to the world around. How is it making me feel instead
Mm-hmm.
of just being on automatic pilot? And
Yeah.
so these are different centers of the body. There's seven main centers of the body, and every center of the body or spinning wheel has a group of endocrine system, a group of hormones that are attached to it, a
Mm.
group of nerves, and a group of organs. So just by imagining a color, like the red color. We're working on our adrenal glands. Maybe we're get rid of fight or flight. We're coming
Mm.
from the autonomic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest, just by breathing red. That can have that effect. It can make me earth red, not like
And when you're
fire,
saying breathing red, it means that you're
imagining it.
visualizing or imagining
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. Or no, as we'll go up the ladder as a quick introduction. And then the second one would be orange, and around that we have the organs. The organ plexus could be the pancreas, the digestive part of the pancreas, as well as the sugar part. No, because the pancreas is a dual
Hmm.
organ.
And all the
And
sex
then we also
hormones
have
would be
yeah,
associated.
and it puts out the hormones, and then we have the hormones of the sexual organs.
Hmm.
No, that's in the second chakra, and all the kidneys, our water zone. And do I feel safe? I think a lot of our nervousness comes from an imbalance of them there. Hair loss
Yeah.
comes from it there too. And then we move up to the third one, which is more obvious because we all pretty much know this is our stomach. And behind the stomach, there's just all these different organs that are helping us digest the food that we're eating. And as I mentioned before,
We've all
one of the
felt
valves of
anxiety there too, you
yes.
know.
And so yoga, or what we're all offering here in this summit, is a way to come free to come back to be able to listen to your own voice. And that is what
Hmm.
creates the calm and the peace within. And then so that's
And so
all
this
in
is
here.
yellow. This is yellow.
Yellow. And the liver is, besides being the organ that cleans the blood, that purifies the blood, it's also a huge endocrine, it's a big
Hmm.
hormonal, and it really helps with balancing our sexual organs as well.
Mm.
And so, perhaps breathing a nice yellow would actually make me feel safe, helping with my digestion. And then we have up in here, which is hidden underneath the ribs, is our heart and our lungs. And what's that? The thymus gland for going into the hormones. And then up in here, we have the thyroid and the parathyroid glands and our voice box.
Hmm.
And actually, it's a movement of the energy of prana, the Udama prana. Our voice box, especially for women, I think we need an outlet. Can we sing instead of always, being frustrated and maybe
Yeah.
screaming at our kids or something like that?
Or like screaming on the
In
inside.
there,
I
huh?
see a lot of women, including myself, like, you know, we redirected internally. I can't do
Of
this anymore. I
course,
can't take this anymore. Like, and or just having like kind of just um a lot of resentment towards our
yeah.
partners and people and our children and people in our lives because
We're
we
not
don't
voicing.
voicing, yeah, what our needs are or our emotions or whatever it is that needs to be expressed.
And then we have the
Hmm.
thyroid gland, which helps with metabolizing our food, with our digestion, and the parathyroid glands, which is calcium absorption. So
Mm,
especially being a mom, we all need that. We don't want to
yeah,
be like another 10 or 15 years because you guys are younger. We kick the wall, we hit a rock by accident and shatter our toe.
yeah.
No, that we don't
No,
want
no,
that.
thank you.
So let's just bring some sky blue in here and
Yeah,
sing to our heart's content. And
beautiful.
then up in here, you know, I have this one as the pineal gland.
Mm-hmm.
And what's a they say, I mean, there's all sorts of conspiracies on the fluoride and the calcification of the pineal gland. I don't know. But that we can, besides the color, we can easily activate it by gazing at the tip of the nose. And the pineal gland is like the is for sleep, good night's sleep,
Mm-hmm.
melatonin, natural melatonin production. So we can produce our own melatonin, get a better night's sleep by gazing at the tip of our nose and imagining a midnight blue color. And the
Mm.
chakra system's very
I know a lot of
individual,
mamas have
very individual.
insomnia.
Yeah, well, how can you not? You have to learn how to breathe. And then the purple one is that I have as a crown chakra and the pituitary gland, which is the master gland. So
Mm.
just by gazing between our eyebrows with the eyes shut, we're activating our pineal, our pituitary gland. We're getting all the hormonal system moving, breathing in the purple color, all the guardianship of the universe.
How can I start integrating sound and color yoga into my life? Do you offer private sessions? Do you offer
Yeah, I
courses? Like,
offer private sessions
okay,
and group sessions online.
awesome.
And I usually like to start with seeing if you're actually breathing. I think that's super important.
Probably
You know,
not.
yeah, because if
Nobody
we're breathing in
is.
our chest, we can be doing all this work and it'll be effective, but it won't be as effective because the
Hmm.
most effective form of healing is to fill with the bottom of our lungs, which isn't up here. Now, our lungs go from the floating rib all the way to the collarbone. So I would definitely start with making sure that they can breathe. So I'd want to see them. But yeah, we could easily. I have a few videos on YouTube right now on the
Hmm.
YouTube live content, but
That's
very
awesome.
easy to
Okay,
integrate it
great.
into life.
And so
We
you
can just
usually
even use
start with,
knitting. We can even play with it with the kids. We
oh,
can
yeah,
play with it with
that'd
the
be
kids as
great.
well.
Yeah, and I think that anything where you can get, your kids or your family members involved is great because it doesn't take away from family time, right? And it can be like an activity you have together. And then I've heard some people doing this, and I've always wanted to try it. Is like not letting your kids have tablet time or some sort of reward until like you've done your workout or until or until you've done your, maybe it could be something you do together like a meditation or breath work or whatever, and so then your kids will ride you to do that because they want to get
It's
their
having
tablet
fun.
time. So like it's like a hack for like a habit, like
And
integrating
it
it.
doesn't have to take long at all. Yeah, we just
Mm,
like, let's just take 3 complete breaths, and hold it in a second. We could hold hands and do it. We can have fun with it. See how we can
yeah.
have fun. How can we be
And
creative? And the kids
yeah,
like
and make
feedback
it
and color.
play. Yeah, and
Yes.
I feel like kids are more in tune to this kind of thing. Like it's easier for them. Do you think so?
Yeah. I don't think they're like, yo, you're crazy. What are you being
They're just
red?
like,
No.
no, they're just like,
All right,
cool.
let's be
Like,
purple. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's be an airplane. So
Yeah.
I offer yoga for kids. It's a
Oh,
conscious
fun.
bringing consciousness into it. It's not a bunch of songs and games. How do I bring yoga into daily life? Like if we're
Mm,
about to have a temper tantrum, how can mom not have a temper tantrum and child not have a temper tantrum? Let's take a moment and like break it up, maybe do a breath of joy or sweep the
yeah.
floor. And so that's something else I offer off.
I'd like to hear more. So you mentioned like you would make sure somebody's breathing. Can we talk a little bit about why it matters? I mean, to us, it's probably obvious, but I think for people who
Well, I'd have to
are,
say, Steve, at this
why
point,
does the breath
I don't even know how
matter?
many yoga teachers even know about the breath. I mean,
Yeah. So tell me
I
why
live in
the
I
breath.
live in a community where there's probably like 30 or 40 yoga instructors here in this little town. It's like ridiculous. And how many of them are actually like teaching from breath and not movement?
Yeah,
And
it's just
why
all the
breath
asana.
important?
Yeah.
Because of breath. God, without breath, we don't live. We breathe, we breathe automatically. We don't think about our breath like digestion. It's like we're going to sit down. All right, I'm going to digest now. Probably if I did, I would digest better. No, but the
Oh,
fact
yeah.
of breathing, we never think about breathing. And if your kid is, decides, mine never did this, but the temper tantrum, I'm gonna hold my breath. It's like, go ahead, you can pass out. I'll see you later. Do me a favor. Well, thanks. Take time out.
Yeah, go
Time
ahead and
out.
try it.
Babe,
Yeah.
you'll come back. But the breath, if it originates in our belly, we're filling ourselves with life. I mean, that's what we're breathing in as the oxygen. We're having an oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange. We're inhaling new life, and we're exhaling toxins. So if I have a short breath, or worst case scenario, I have emphysema. Now I don't have an expansion of my lungs. My lungs are contracting. That will create other issues like kidney problems. Obviously, if the kidneys are affected, I'm going to have high anxiety. The lungs and the kidneys are completely, I don't know why, you're the scientist, but in the Chinese meridians, also the lungs and the kidneys are connected. So as I'm learning to breathe, maybe the adrenal glands, as I'm breathing from my belly, because the ribs, the lungs come all the way down to the floating rib, not now
Yeah.
breathing in my nose, and I'm filtering the air, so I'm not getting a bunch of trash. I'm breathing in the new. I'm filling up as much as I can, and at the upper lung, it's more in the back because we have the heart here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, as I exhale, I can exhale more carbon dioxides and exhale more stresses from our body. The breath, once we teach somebody how to breathe correctly, their life changes right there, right on the spot. It could be a break, crying breakdown, it could be an emotional release. It doesn't have to be crying, it could be laughing, but
Mm-hmm.
right there. But we have to be reminded to breathe until it
Mm-hmm.
becomes until my mind tunes into my mind and body tune into the fact that, wow, man, if I breathe, I bet you everything will change.
Yeah,
And
there's
it's
this new
and stopping for a moment, just even one breath,
yeah,
tune the mind out.
it's incredibly powerful and something that has to be experienced, right?
Another thing of the color and sound, I can't, I'm giving my mind an activity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The only animal that we have a talking mind, I mean, with the dog or the cat or the deer, it's
Yeah.
survival.
Like
We
where's she?
have
Yeah.
thinking mind. So I need to give my mind an activity. I have to give it a break. And that's where my hour, 45 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes of yoga, hour and a half is the activity is I'm focusing my mind's attention in filling the belly, the
Mm-hmm.
rib, chest with breath. And then if I bring in a color, well, geez, that gives me something. I can't, there's even less room to think about something else.
Yeah,
And
like with the
instead of,
grocery list or what I
yeah, what
shouldn't
am I
have
going to eat for
sent that
dinner?
email. Yeah.
Is it going to be
I gotta pick up the
traffic?
kids. Or is my
Is it
husband
going to
gonna
be
pick up the
hard to
kids?
date? Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I add the yoga posture, So I'm inhaling red, and I'm in mountain pose, and I have to lift my pelvis, spread my toes, lift my pelvis, open my heart, front of the head to the. There's no time to think. I'm
Mm-hmm.
engaging my mind and my body sensation. And that will create the shift. And it will create the shift that without even being aware of it, all of a sudden, I'll become aware of my thoughts during the day where I'm thinking to
Mm-hmm.
myself, God, I wish you would sleep all day, my kid. Instead of, or whatever the resentment thought form is, And then I become aware of my thought forms. I'm like, wow, hope my kid wakes up all rested, or I'm feeling so rested with my kid sleeping, or instead of being like, oh, I wish you would just sleep forever and have the rest of the day off. And that in the
Yeah.
end drains us. And I'm not really aware of that thought form. But then I'll be like, oh, wait, no, but that's okay. It's part of what it is. It's what I'm doing. So, like, I hope he
Yeah,
wakes
like
up rested and let me get rested now. Just being
mm-hmm.
aware of those thought forms that are sucking the energy out of our life. out of our day
Yeah. I think that's what
and
they people
damaging
talk
our
about
organs.
when yoga kind of you start on the mat and then you'll notice that it goes off the mat and then it brings you'll get the first this is kind of the first step where it's like by doing these practices by doing the movement, the sound, the visualizations with the breath, you're kind of like imagine it's like a muscle you're using, right? And then this muscle or this practice then becomes kind of starts to become available in other places of your life where you now have the space to observe a thought or feeling without getting attached to it. Um and it's that real like ability. You can't really change anything until you know what the problem is, right? Or that you have a problem. And so this is kind of
Yeah,
like a
not even,
tool
yeah.
to kind of like start to unravel it. Anything we didn't talk about today that you want to share with folks or you feel like
No,
we haven't
the
touched upon?
most important thing I think is the breath and how yoga is a tool for, as you know, because as I start to fill my head with my body sensations, it comes off the mat. And that's also how we're actualizing the eight walks, the eight limbs of yoga. I'm trying to, I teach so much in Spanish. The eight limbs of yoga or the five koshas, because we have to
Hmm.
start with the physical body, the breath body, the mind body, and then we start. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, I'm having a thought form. And so we get into Vijnamaya kosha, which is like actualizing the mind body. And then when I don't have all those disturbing thought forms, we're in a bliss body
Mm, love
as we
it.
take yoga off the mat. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yay. We did it. Wonderful. Well, that was our interview, and we talked about all the things. The use of sound and color in yoga, and also the introduction to the chakra system. I had a couple questions come in. So, do you have a favorite color sound pairing that you find particularly healing or energizing? Oh, and you're on mute, Devaya. Oh, you're on mute, sweetie.
The the rum, if we say Rama is actually balancing the left and the right hemispheres of the body and the mind. So we could be in the golden sun and Rama, Rama. But otherwise, I do red and Lam, because if I'm not feeling safe or abundant or, a sense of presence, secure, then I'm worried and nothing else works. We have to feel safe on planet Earth. And we're
Yeah.
light beings having an Earth experience. So that's why everything is kind of weird for us now. And
Yeah.
Lum, I'd have to say Lum is the most potent one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
nowadays and after the pandemic, there's 25.6% more depression or anxiety.
Mhm.
Now because of all the uncertainty that always
Yes.
existed, but the pandemic like made it more magnified. So if I can actually think, imagine a color and say a sound, it gives me a chance not to be worrying.
Yeah.
Anxiety is a lot of worry because we can't control the unknown.
I
And
know. We
so
can't.
I think lum, red and lum, 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 lum,
Uh,
lum, 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 lum.
Lum lum
Yeah,
lum lum with the color red.
correct.
Okay. Um, was there a standout moment in your journey of the color using yoga with color and sound?
No, I'd
No.
have to say now. Because this has been since 98 that I've been doing this. 2008, I made it a registered mark. And I think now, besides there's so much energy available to us that it's just really it's subtle. For me, it's been really subtle. I watch
Mhm.
my students that come in and go through a major shift. Right now, one of my students had an accident and
Mm.
he actually thanked me for the yoga class because he's in the hospital and how he's breathing and and how he can we're not identifying with the pain of the body, but we're just being with the sensations. And he
Mhm.
says that's helped him a lot.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, well, we're right at the hour, so it's time to wrap up. But before we do, is there anything you want to let people know about that you have coming up? Um, how can they
Um,
find you?
they can find me at I can't write it down, but Aroba or at Devaya Yoga at Devaya Yoga CR is my
Hmm.
Instagram.
Okay.
My webpage is Devaya Yoga, DevayaYoga.
Hmm.
And in February, I'm going to launch a program from nervous anxiety to serene self-esteem. And then if you want to come to Costa Rica, which we'd
Ooh.
love to have you, in May 3rd through the 10th,
Uh-huh.
we are offering Ageless Radiance, a woman's retreat. And it really
Beautiful.
doesn't matter your age, but we're learning how to be with the postures that support our hormonal system, our endocrine system, and food. I mean, I'm in a change of life. You're very young. So how phytoestrogens replace our estrogen and just to share in a female community. And then July 19th through the 26th of 2025 is yoga and digestion. So
Hmm.
we have a week of yoga postures that support digestion and eating with colors. How do the different colors affect
Mm.
us now and even visually affect us besides physically? And then I'm doing a teacher training in case anybody would like to share this experience with their friends
Yeah.
and families and those they don't know, September 1st through the 26th.
Ooh, lots of good
And I
excuses to
really can't
come to
thank you
Costa
enough.
Rica.
Please.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you all. And I'm sure we'll follow up and have more excuses to get together.
I hope so.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.